Welcome to He Carries Me Over Ministries Incorporated special presentation of 12 Days of Christmas. This is the 12th day in the conclusion of this. On the 12th day of Christmas, God gave us a promise of New Jerusalem and to be reunited with our loved ones that have gone before. Now, let's stay with the word promise. When a man makes a promise, mankind makes a promise to you, that promise can be broken. It often is. But when God gives a promise, His promise goes unbroken. Don't put your faith in a man's promise, because it can be broken. Put your faith in God and His promise that goes unbroken. God's promise will never be broken. Prayers this morning goes out once again to the COVID-19. Almost 87 million cases. 61 million has recovered. See, there's a big difference right there. 61 million recovered, 87 million cases. It's going up every day. In the world, the death now total is almost 2 million. In the United States, it's very close to 400,000. I still have faith that God will get rid of this. He will take care of this. I have the faith, and I know He will. We ask God things, but what are we doing for God? We've got to do things for Him, people. He will deliver us from this. He will take care of it, but we've got to do things for Him also. We expect gifts from God. We know He will, give them. We expect it. But what are we doing back in return for God? That's the problem. What are we doing back in return for God? When we want something from our earthly parents, father or daddy, whatever you want to call them, we ask for, then we're on our best behavior to get the gift from daddy. God is much the same way. We asked, you better be on your best behavior. You may get it and you may not. Because God already knows what's in your heart and on your brain and in your mind. He already knows. You just better be on your best behavior. Our needs are automatically fulfilled from God. God does give wants. It says in Psalms, God will give you your desires. A desire is a want. You ask God, only thing I want is a partner that's a good churchgoer and a good Christian. Years later, you find that partner. You forget who sent that partner to you. You forget that day that you said, I want. Well, God fulfilled that want, not a need. God gave you what you wanted. God does give wants, a desire. But don't get too outlandish with it. Be reasonable. Just like I asked you all throughout the week, get closer to God. Ask Him questions. If you don't ask, you'll never know the answer. He says, ask and you shall receive. Ask Him questions about things. I do, and I get pretty good answers. Not good answers, I get excellent answers. But ask Him of things. just like your earthly father, your daddy. You've got to ask, or you'll never know the answer. Ask God, and you will know the answer. Maybe not right off the bat, but you will know the answer somewhere. Just like me one time, 2 years after my mother passed on, I asked God, did she go to heaven? I had a dream one night. I see Mom standing in a ray of sunlight, wearing a pretty purple outfit. Sitting next to her was a poinsettia tree, and on the ground was a dogwood blanket. God showed me, yeah, she is in heaven. See, he can answer you. It might be in a dream somewhere down the line, or it might be right off the bat he can answer you. But you will get an answer to your questions when you ask God. So I hope that during this time you did take time with God and you did ask Him reasonable questions. Not outlandish ones, but reasonable ones. He will answer you because He said He would. It's not... A minister is not the only one that can get close to God and ask Him questions. It's for you also. Ask Him. Ask Him, you shall receive. It don't take a great person to ask Him. Anybody can, and you will get answers. That is a promise that He said in His promises, go unbroken. They cannot be broken. His promises will not be broken. Okay? Now, on this 12th day of Christmas, God promised New Jerusalem, and we will be reunited with those that our hearts are yearning to see, such as our mother, our daddy, sister, cousin, best friend, aunt, uncle, grandpa that has already passed on. And our hearts are yearning to be with them, to see them again. We will one day in New Jerusalem. He promised that. And it will be. Just like He promised the birth of His Son, it came to be. Just like He promised His Son would return, He will return one of these days, because that is a promise from God. And you can take it to the bank. It is true. God's promise is something that you can bank on. Now, let's create our fence, because the reason why I want you to create a fence. As we hold hands, a handhold can be broken by Satan. He can break a handhold, but he'll never break a fence. Just like I told you one time with no fences. Let's create a fence. Lock your arm with mine, and I will lock mine with this one. That's creating a fence. What we're doing now is we're marching on to Zion. Every day of our life we're marching on. But as we march on to Zion, we are going to be waiting for our deliverance into the golden city. As we stand at the gate with all of our hopes that we will see them, suddenly the gate comes open. But don't go no further yet. Just look in there. There's Mom and Dad smiling. There's all them loved ones that our hearts are yearning to see. As we march up to go into the gate, they're all standing for you to come in. And as we enter the gate, listen, as the golden bells of heaven begins to ring. one that your heart has been yearning to be with. Go be with them. Now after you're through there, I want you to look back into the stadium there. Who is these people? And as your eyes come in contact with one, all smiles. Here he comes. That is your angel, who is now your helper, your messenger, your servant. He takes you by the hand, and he begins to lead you through Glory Land, showing you around. Now let me stop right there for a minute. Israel, back in Egypt, they began to escape with Moses through the desert. They were on their quest to Canaan land. And people, that's what we are today. We were on a quest just like they were to Canaan land. So as you go and look throughout the land that your servant is now taking you to, you are finally looking at that promised land, the Canaan land that God promised us. You're now looking right at it. And as you are stunned with all the beauty, your servant stands to the side. And then you hear your name called. And you turn. And there he is. As he reaches out his nail-scarred hands, you feel weak on the knees. You want to collapse. But he grabs you by the shoulders and he holds you up. And he says, no more of that. You've done enough of that already. By raising my name up, by praising me and thanking me, you did enough. Brother, sister, you've done enough already. And as your eyes begin to fill with tears, he takes his nail-scarred, glory. He takes that nail-scarred hands and he wipes that tear away from your eyes. And now he tells you to go and enjoy what he prepared for you. Go. You're free. Go. Your servant takes you by the hand one more time and he leads you through the golden city, the streets of gold. But you stop. The golden steps. Look at them. They're gold. They're not concrete. They're gold. Look at the stair railing. Pure gold. Your servant takes you up to the entrance, to the door. And right above the door is your name. And as he opens up the door, you're stunned with the beauty. The walls of jasper, the floors of gold. Look at that crystal chandelier that is not crystal. It is of a diamond. All of this is yours. He promised that. And all of this is now yours. God promised it. Jesus died on the cross for it. And now it's all yours. Now your servant takes you by the hand. You walk down to the streets of gold into that city. That city that's known as Hallelujah Square. There's a celebration over on the east side you're going. But just when that celebration's over with, there's one over on this side. There's one down there. The celebrations will never end. And then time for supper. You sit down at the table. Your servant sits you down. And then he goes. Where'd he go to? There he comes with your plate for supper filled. Jesus himself will then pour the wine for you. And all of this is to thank you for upholding his name, for praising Him, for thanking Him for what He done. Look what we get back in return. We get this. Now, the Bible tells us John went into the Golden City, and he wrote a lot of descriptions about it. But it also goes to say that we can imagine how beautiful heaven is. But it goes beyond the human imagination. What is waiting there in that Golden City? It goes beyond our imagination. We cannot imagine the beauty of that and what is in the Golden City. We cannot imagine it. But we can, just like I just did. My little interpretation of it. I've never been there. For if I was, I would not be here. Because they would have to grab me and pull me out while I'm screaming and hollering to stay. That's how beautiful it's going to be, people. We got all of that. All of that's coming. That was a promise from God. All of that is coming. The Bible speaks of a crystal river flowing from the throne of God. The Golden City, the streets of gold, the gates of pearl, the walls of jasper. He also speaks that we will be reunited with our loved ones that are gone. That our hearts are yearning to see. Yes, we will be with them. But this is going to last forever and ever. And when one celebration's over with, there's going to be another one. The celebrations will never stop. Not in glory. Not in Canaan land. It will never stop. 1 billion years down here is only one day up there. People, that's not the one thing nobody wants to go. Don't you want to go there? I do. But mostly I want to see that man that died for me on Calvary. I want to touch his nail-scarred hands. And I just want to say thank you. But right now in this chaotic time on this earth, we're going through a chaotic time. A time that's confusion, fear, chaos. That was a promise from Satan. Satan would turn it into a confusion time. Chaotic, fearful. We're living in that time. We're living in that time. And as I close out this, I will say this. Christmas is celebrated December 25th all over the world. It is a time that was set aside for man to be honored and cherished. Because this is a time that represents his birth in Bethlehem. Some cultures will take it from December 25th through January the 6th. Because some believe that the 12 days of Christmas is after Christmas, not before. While we celebrate New Year's January 6th, some countries do not. Such as Chinese New Year begin in February. Iran will celebrate its New Year's in April. The Jewish New Year's is in September. But there's one thing for certain. The world celebrates his birthday on December 25th. It is a time set aside for him to be honored and cherished and remembered for his birth. As I close out this does bring a close to Christmas season 2020. I wish all of you the very best through 2021. And may God richly bless each and every one of you. And I know that he's going to take care of this coronavirus. I know he will. Beginning next Sunday, we will take it to 6:30 p.m. on Sundays. And until then, let the people.